3 minutes to go, 6-4 to France as we head towards half-time.
France, they're just getting to their box with such consummate ease.
That's good defence. I would have given that no control. However, he's given them the touch and playing the 5th touch there.
All comes to naught as it is. Ireland possession. Good dummy there from Ireland. It allows them a few cheap meters. They work to the box. Now they'll look to spread the play a little bit. See if they can find an attacking platform here for Byrne. And he ships it on one more, and they're moving through with pace. That looked like a suspiciously forward pass, but referee's all right with it.
There's 6 touches there.
Again, France getting across their box really, really well. They're looking so smooth in that transition part of the game.
Not a great finish from France there on their 5th and final.
Almost to such an extent that I'm not even sure, other than Byrne, that the Irish players knew they'd used up their count.
Another skill error there from Ireland, so you'll see France come towards their sub box and get these interchanges going on. There's 2nd touch there.
It's the rain.
Yeah, another error there, so the error rate's really crept up in this game.
Well, as the rain started to come in, it's just starting to affect a bit of the handling. It's one of those slightly strange days where just every now and then you get these showers and you just hope that they pass through. In fact, it may already have passed through. It's swept in and out in a matter of moments. Just about a minute left to play here in the first half. That pass, unexpected, I think, by Phelan, and just goes to ground. So France will have what could be the final possession of the half if they play their cards right. In fact, it could be a very exciting final possession. They've really swept through on that drive.
Yeah, they look intense now and focused. They obviously know they've got a clock there, and they've been told by the coach there's only so many seconds left. So they'll be looking to have a crack and score off this last set.
Diving for the line goes Joly.
Yeah, good touch there. Link looks like he stepped off the line, made the touch.
And Ireland probably going to have to score pretty quickly here. Very little time left to go before the hooter. And in fact, there goes the hooter. And that'll be that for the first half. Strong showing from both sides. But France on top, 6 scores to 4. And Peter, a strong showing from France so far. They've looked good for the 2-score lead, I'd say. It's been a strong performance from Ireland to stick at it and keep chipping away at the score. But France look as though they've got another level they can hit. They've looked so smooth at times as they move through the gears.
Yeah, they do. And if I had to pick a team that's played better with less errors, it would be the French team. Obviously, Ireland have a big strike weapon in Kevin Byrne, and they'll be looking to have him out on attack as much as they can. So it's a good contest. The errors have really crept in that latter stages of that first half. So now that there's a bit of rain been coming down, the ball will be even more slippery. So there's more control needed. They'll have to decelerate at the rucks and try and keep that error rate down. And
with your hat on of observing what's going on with the French teams and picking out any pointers without giving away any trade secrets, is there anyone or anything particularly stood out for you in this French side so far in this first half?
No, I can see that they have, like all teams at this level, they have a strategy, they have tactics that they run. Like a lot of the French teams, one of their platforms from getting from one end to the other is they start off with a 32 ruck on the far side away from their box, and then they move towards their box, and then they just drive up that lane. Pretty much what most teams do, but it's just interesting that they tend to go, and they've had more luck going the far side first instead of going straight to their box like most other teams.
They've certainly had plenty of positive play, and I guess from an Irish point of view, they'll take a lot of encouragement from the fact that when they've got into attacking positions, they've been able to convert, and they've converted successfully. And obviously the likes of Byrne have been a real threat. Is there anything they can do, perhaps defensively, just to stem what's been coming at them in terms of that sort of French tidal wave of attack at times?
Yes, well, if I was the Irish coach, I would certainly tell them to put more pressure on Ireland, on France when they're coming off their line, because like we talked about earlier in the game, they weren't moving forward. One or two individuals would, but as a team, they weren't moving regularly forward to attack the attack and limit their yards, so that they'll have to, on their fifth touch, to be like 20 metres off your line, as opposed to getting down to your line with two or three spare touches.
And I guess as well, the more you put pressure on that attack, the more likely you are to get the ball back in a position which is much easier to advance up the field. And the name of the game is get up to the 7 as fast as you possibly can.
Yes, and I was just looking across at the Ireland huddle over there. Their coaches Tanya Ross and Billy Nawani. Billy looks quite animated, so he's got arms swinging and his head's moving, so he's obviously giving them some heavy stuff going on there.
Reading the right act, perhaps, about that defensive pressure. Not too long until the start of the second half. It's been a strong first half showing from both sides, but France good for their 6-2 lead. Stay with us after this one, because we've got a massive game coming up at 2:55 when we switch over to the men's under-18s for Ireland against Wales. Remember, the men's under-18s and under-20s competitions not technically part of the Atlantic Youth Touch Cup, in that they're non-capped as a result of the way the tournament has been laid out, but certainly playing for plenty of pride, plenty of enjoyment, and I don't think the fact that those 18s and 20s games are uncapped is going to be holding them back whatsoever. Now we've got about a minute to go. France have clearly done all their talking. They know what needs to happen. They're already out on the field and looking pretty happy about it. Ireland slowly making their way out. A few more messages that were required from Ireland, but they look as though they're out and ready to go. All that remains is for the buzzer to get us started for the second half, and it looks as though Ireland are going to be starting with that strike pod of theirs featuring Kieran Byrne.
Exactly, and look at the formation of the French defensive six. They've got two waves, one on the 10-metre mark ready to go, and another wave 5 metres behind them, who'll come forward once the dummy half touches on the next ruck.
France setting their defensive stall out right from the off. Let's see if that's a pattern they stick to through the half. Second half then just about to begin. France leading 6-4 here against Ireland. Will they stay in front through the game, or will Ireland manage to come from behind and take victory? All will be revealed over the course of the next 20 minutes. And Ireland looking patient in build-up here to start the second half. As the sun comes out, my goodness me, British summer. Bit of sunshine. We'll take 20 minutes of that. Thank you very much. As Kieran Byrne goes diving for the line.
Yeah, it's a good touch there by the female link there for France.
France, as they did in the first half, getting to the box well, but then a bit of an error in handling just as they'd got to that crucial part of the field. So Ireland will have another great attacking opportunity.
Yeah, error made there, and the girl obviously right-handed. She couldn't, the toucher came from her right, and it's not the hand that she reaches out to make the touch as a right-hander. So lots of errors happen there, and one of those happened right there and then.
Ireland then. And they create something. Byrne goes to the right-hand side, touch comes in, just ran out of options a little bit.
Yeah, their platform needs to be a little bit cleaner, their lines, their positioning, so Kieran can get more opportunity there. He's having to do a lot of work to to make it work. And in saying that, there was a beautiful long ball, and they've called the touch there, that the touch was made.
Well, he did well to see that the option was on, but I guess it's what we were saying actually in the first half, isn't it? Sometimes when you get too much loft on those passes, it just allows the defence to just scoot across, and France did so in the nick of time, but it was touch and go. And France, and they do here. Oh, it's almost brilliantly gathered.
Yeah, good defence by the Irish link there. Just nice direct line straight up to the attacker.
Ireland not quite taking that from the correct position, hence they had to start again. It was a bit of a shame because there were holes all over the place as a result of that slightly broken field attack.
You see the French are flying forward to meet them, and you know, making all those touches and cutting down the yards of the Irish team.
And still by and large employing that pattern you spoke about early on with 3 up and 3 back.
Yes, and that was fifth and final. Then look how far out they are off the line there by the pressure that France put on them. They're going to their 32 ruck far side. They'll now bring it back towards the box. What you'll find there is these girls here, when they make these drives, it's very hard for them to make a clean one because they're having to touch with their other hand.
And is that a skill that a lot of teams will have to work on as France get across again? Looks as though the try is going to have been scored by Le Prignac. Has indeed, and France open up for the first time in the game a 3-score lead. They stretch it out to 7-4.
You look like a quickie step back and passed off, and the Irish link just reacted late and started a little bit wide on his pre-touch.
And going back to what you were saying about, you know, having to be touched from the right-hand side when France are attacking from right to left as they move towards their box, and therefore having to have an emphasis on their control with their left hand when they dump the ball, is that a skill that a lot of teams are having to work on quite hard? You know, it's obviously doing something with your non-natural hand as Kieran Byrne goes to the line is a skill that's hard to work on, and a feature of the game probably that a lot of outside observers won't necessarily know about.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, coaches will say, look, you've got to be able to throw left and throw right and dump the ball with both hands, but reality is when you're going as fast as you can, to actually change hands into your weaker hand is not easy to do.
Certainly a challenging skill. As Ireland clawed that try back through Byrne, drop it down to 7-5, but France, oh so nearly. Would have been a spectacular finish from Laid Burr if she'd managed to capture that ball in and then finish it off all in the one motion.
Yeah, France holding that 2-point buffer, and once again we see France moving forward to put pressure on the attack. That was a good pass off there by the Irish girl link.
Again, another very forward-looking pass is allowed to go on. It's been the bee in my bonnet as France don't mind it one little bit though, because it's allowed them this opportunity. An intercept from Gabriel Caron, and no one's going to catch him. Scorches away right in front of that horde of French supporters at the far end there, and it's an 8-5 lead for France.
Yeah, it was a good skill there. He put his hand out to sort of in the passing lane, and he didn't actually tap the ball up, he just tapped it sideways and it fell down, and he picked it up with his other hand, ran the length for a try. France now with a 3-point buffer, 8-5.
Well, that's how you respond, isn't it? Kieran Byrne. No sooner have France stretched the lead out to 3 again than he goes, well, I think I'll just have to take control of this one myself then.
And I notice he stayed on to defend the set, so obviously when you're when you're a good player, you're good on attack and defence. It's just that his value to the team is obviously attack, and they would normally take him off if the game was close, but it isn't close, so they keep him on there because of his nous, and hoping that he'll help to diffuse this attack and keep France from scoring.
It was an extraordinary try, that, wasn't it? Straight from the tap off, and he just bounced off the right foot and then had the stride length and the pace just to surge away from the defence.
Very quick, very quick.
Well, France have struck back, a try of some controversy in that Ireland were convinced that they'd got a hand on, but the referee's not having a bit of it.
He looked offside.
And it must have been the offside call that came in, and Audric Nicole only too happy to just flop over the line, bring it back out to 3 again. And as was the pattern in the first half, every time Ireland chip away, France just respond and keep that advantage at that comfortable level for themselves.
Yeah, we've just got 12 and a half to go now, and France up by 3, so that's quite a good buffer. They'd be wanting to consolidate, not make any errors. Oh, and just as I say that, they make an error on the first touch.
The curse of the commentator strikes again.
When you're in that position with a good lead, you really can afford to slow things down a fraction, not play at 100 miles an hour and just slow it down to maybe 90–80%.
Ireland go wide, but the ball goes to ground.
Yeah, they had a good overlap there, and the pass didn't quite hit the target. Sort of went in between the two girl players. So
France with a bit of work to do to get across their box. This is probably the hardest they found it, and yet still within 3 touches, they're over the halfway line and able to make their changes. It has been such a slick part of their game. And now they've got a great attacking opportunity. So great, in fact, that they're going to score off it. Aurélien Le Prunec with his hat-trick. Shame about his kicking, but we'll forgive him of that, because that was an extraordinarily good try from France.
yeah, the other link at number 6 had come all the way from the other side to try and pick him up, but the speed was too good.
Well, it was impressive in the most part, because for the first time all game, really, France got themselves in a bit of a tangle on their transition as they tried to get to their box. They sort of burned through 2 touches far earlier than they'd wanted to, but on that 3rd touch they managed to find the space, just surge away as Kieran Byrne turns supplier for Roisin Ridge, and Ireland again just strike back.
It was a good ball, looked about 20 to 25 metres width and hit the girl. She had done well to really catch that. And yeah, try. Look at that. Great work.
So 10-7 the gap. Ireland still staying in contact, and we've got just a shade over 10 minutes left. There's still plenty of time left to go. Ireland will be thinking, if we can just stay in contact, you just never know. France will be thinking, if we can just stamp on the accelerator a little bit, get an extra couple of scores, and suddenly Ireland are looking at a deficit that they're not going to have enough time to come back from.
Yeah, refs call them offside.
Renan Richardot scoring the try. That's a couple now with Ireland offside. And is that a bit of tiredness creeping in, or is that just a bit of worry at what this French attack is throwing at them?
Yeah, he was unlucky, the number 6 defender. He had both feet behind on the line there, but it's a very tight call there by the ref. So could have gone either way, and he gives the try to France.
11-7. Ireland have been striking back almost instantaneously throughout the entire game whenever France have scored. And they do so again here. It'll be a good time for them to do so, and Kieran Byrne dives to the line. Nothing doing this time, but once again he is just such a threat, and he is getting through an awful lot of minutes in this second half. Six touches though, so France survived that one and have a 4-point lead. Lovely footwork again from Le Prunec. Slip there, seized possession. They're going to have another 6. They're offside.
This could really hurt Ireland. 6 touches on the line, you'd expect France to have a good chance to score here.
Huge opportunity for France. They dive for the line. Referee looks happy with it. Players look happy with it. And Audric Nicole looks very happy with it indeed. France now have a 5-point cushion. 12-7 they lead. And that could be match defining.
Yeah, they've resorted to a quickie platform these last few minutes and relying on offside players, and it's worked. Ireland once again just not quite onside there.
And it's impressive, that sort of change in tactics, finding another way to score tries midway through the game and doing so effectively. That's a really promising sign for this France side as we sort of look ahead to the course of the next few days.
Yeah, it's quite clever, and strategy is going to certainly come into it. I mean, they're playing 40 minutes games at this tournament, which is quite big back in New Zealand. They play 30-minute games for this age group, so 40 minutes is a long time over 3 days, especially for, I mean, in the 15s you get a lot of 12, 13-year-olds, you know, so they haven't contend 3 games a day at 40 minutes. It's huge.
It certainly is. It's a lot of exercise, and it just shows you how important those subs are, because that is the best way to save energy. It was a good finish, that, from Cathal Mac Gerrit. But it's probably now at this stage too big a hole for Ireland to dig their way out of. France have done really well. Ireland have been chipping away throughout the game, but France have done incredibly well just to stay in control of the game. They've been the superior side, but they've had to work for it, and they've had to show us the full array of their skills, and what an array it has been as they go for the line again, this time Joly, and it's going to be given again. And France are starting to enjoy themselves now.
Yeah, they are. And you see the setup here. It's a peel play and dives inside. The defender not lifting off the line for Ireland there. You got to step, drop and lift. So drop back to the line, then step forward off the line. So if they dive, they're going to have to reach a metre or two past you.
13-8, France lead. That ball just goes to ground. I'm not sure everyone's quite sure how or why it's happened. There's a bit of a chat between everyone, and I think it's been decided that it was accidentally knocked out of Irish hands by France, so we'll carry on. Kieran Byrne dives to the line. It's a spectacular dive. Touch came in there. That's a brilliant touch from Nicole for France. Byrne. Soft hands, but the touch comes in on Gilmore outside him.
Yeah, good touch winger there. She lifted off the line well. Beautiful.
Kieran Byrne just manipulating the defence around him and then just giving the soft, easy pass to Roisin Ridge for her second via his hand.
It looked like no room there, nothing on. He started from a static and just started running, went around the gill link and offloaded. Beautiful skill there.
And just encouraging his teammate to get the ball down nice and early before something goes wrong, and then making sure Ireland get on with it. He certainly still believes that there's time enough to come back into this one.
Yeah, I like how Ireland is still playing. They're still playing and being as intense as they can. And as we say that, France going for another try.
Well, and that is what they've been so good at, though, isn't it? Whenever Ireland have scored, and this time it's Gabriel Caron, France have found a way just to get over the try line nice and early afterwards, and just never to allow Ireland to get that sense that they're coming back into it.
And consistently through the game, you see France attacking the two-girl side. They perceive that as a weakness, and it's worked in their favour.
It has been an intelligent display from France on all sorts of levels. Ireland have given a good account of themselves. Evidently a very good France side that they're up against, and they've competed well, but France just with too much class.
Yeah, 14-9, 3 minutes to go, so it looks pretty much in the bag for the French here.
And we saw in this division earlier on, I don't know if you caught it, but an incredibly good game between England and Wales, who both look very strong. France looking very strong here as well. A strong division overall, it's looking like.
It really is. 5 teams, and just looking at this game, the standard's going to be, the semi-finals are going to be great.
I think we're going to be in for some pretty tight, intense knockout rounds, aren't we?
Yeah. French have looked very good this game. Nice and clean. Still a lot of work to do, still a lot of errors. They've made a lot of errors, not as many as Ireland, but still lots of errors.
The composure has been striking. Real sense of calm about their play, nothing.
Yeah, this guy's been on at the skill link all tournament. There he goes again. Making her pull it, she makes a touch which forces her to pull a hard corner and is reliant on the inside guy middle to come across. So well done to that French link, very smart. He's set up or scored 2 or 3.
Yeah, Arthur Ferry there, wearing 23. Scoring this time, but as you say, he's been a creator as well. And 15-9 now, and just in the last 5 or 6 minutes, France have really stretched this advantage out into a very healthy one. 6-point difference now, under 2 minutes left to play. Ireland won't stop, we've seen that, but it's another interception from France. Ireland do well to scramble in defence, and with French players out of position, it buys them a bit of time to get themselves back into alignment in defence. Panic stations can just calm a little bit as now France roll through on their subs box. Threat's not over yet. Threat's never over when this French side has the ball in hand. Now they hit the brakes a little bit, set up something a little more formal, and this is where they've been so impressive, is in having that patience, and in having that patience it pays off with the score. Charlotte Tonso with the try. I think they're just going to have a bit of a chat here. Ref talking to a couple of the players.
Yeah, there's a little bit of mouthing going on there. Must have been between the players, so maybe she's picked that up and she's going to deal with it now.
I think the try is going to be awarded. The French players are making their way back towards the halfway line. It was just a talking to about some of the chat that was going on afterwards, but the net result is a try, and a try really that encapsulates this French side. They work their way up the field quickly and energetically, and then they get into that attacking zone, slow the pace down, and just pick a good option.
And that's a lot of tries in this game. There's 16 and 9. There's 25 according to my maths, and it ends up being a comprehensive win for France.
Yeah, it's been without ever looking like they were miles ahead of Ireland. They've looked like the better side throughout. They've ended up with what is going to be a very strong victory as the hooter goes. The final touch comes in and France take the victory. As we say, 16-9 here against Ireland, and a really, well, I think the word for it is a thoroughly professional performance from France. They really just controlled that game from start to finish, and eventually that pressure told into what is ultimately a fairly comprehensive margin of victory.
Yes, you can see they're a team that's done a bit of work on the training paddock. They're quite clear on their processes and their tactics, and they perform them pretty well. Error rate was a little bit high, but I mean, they are young athletes and still learning to adjust to performing skills under pressure, like when you're running fast and stuff like that. Yeah, so good win to France.
Absolutely. All finishes up then. France 16, Ireland 9 in this mixed under 18 division. We switch across now to the boys under 18, and it's Ireland again. They're up against Wales at the 2:55 kickoff, so do stay with us for that one because it should be a cracking game coming up at 2:55. Finishes up here though. France 16, Ireland 9.